السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. ربنا زدنا علما. اللهم فقهنا في الدين. اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وأملا متقبلا آمين يا رب العالمين. So here we are with our session number 253, in which we are going to start our advanced surf. Bismillahi ta'ala. In our last session, we went over the classification of af'al based on the root letters, and we have found that there are two types of af'al based on the root letter. If your fail has a weak letter, can anyone tell me what is that fail called? Will it be on the right side or on the left side, as per the slide? If a fail has a weak letter in it as its root letter, it is going to be mutal. Yes, very good job. And this is going to be on the left side. Very well done. Barakallahu feek. Yes. So if your fail is a fail that has waw and ya as its root letter, it is going to be on the left side, and it is going to be either mithal, ajwaf, or naqis based on the position of the root letter. I hope this was all clear to each and every one of you who were there in the session on Saturday. So then we went over how you are going to divide or actually further subclassify your misal into misal wawi, misal yai, your ajwaf into ajwaf wawi, ajwaf yai, and your naqis also into naqis wawi and naqis yai. Now, what happens if you have a fail and this fail has two root letters that are weak? What is that fail called that has two root letters that are weak letters, waw or ya, or there may be a doubling or whatever? So yes, the lafif is a term used for a word or a fail that has two weak letters. Lafif is a word that is used for a fail that has two weak letters, right? Now, the next question is, if the root letters that are weak are side by side, like they one after another, they are together. The weak letters are together. What is going to be that lafif called now? How will you further subclassify your lafif? You are going to call it maqroon. You are going to call it maqroon, and remember it has a qaf as the root letter, right? Qarana, right? One of the interpretation about word Quran is that it is derived from root letters qarana, which means to join, right? This different stories are joined together, different you know um, it's a book where different incidents, it has joined many incidents, and the ayahs are joined with one another, right? So keep that in mind. But now, if I asked you a question, coming back to surf, if your root letters that are weak are separated, they are not right next to each other, what are you going to call that lafif? That lafif is going to be lafif mafruq. Very well done. And here is the slide for that. And I hope you all were able to go over some of the slides that these have been shared with you in the past as well. But I'm going to put everything together now that we are entering into advanced surf. Alhamdulillah, bismillahi ta'ala. So if I show you a word just real quick before I take you to whatever I was supposed to teach today, let me share with you a word here. If I give you this word, yakunu. So what do you think? Sahih or mutal? It is mutal. And if I ask you, subclassify it, further subclassify, I hope you all understand that what is subclassification means, right? So kaf, waw, na, noon are the root letters. And the middle letter, the cavity, it is a word with a cavity, right? The cavity is always in the center. And when the cavity is in the center is weak. That is where the cavity is, and it is jawf, right? From there we get ajwaf, right? Ajwaf. So this is ajwaf because the middle letter is a weak letter, right? Now, if I ask you, what are the root letters for this word? Hayata, al-hayati. Give me the root letters. Hayaya. So now, what are you going to call this word that has two weak letters. It is again going to very good job. Start from the start. Left side of the table, motal. Then you go to the next step. You take the next step and you call motal. After that, you call it that this is, since it has two weak letters, it is going to be lafif. And since the two weak letters are right next to each other, it is going to be lafif makroon, right? You're going to call it lafif makroon, right? Everyone? Am I right? Okay, now let's see here. When I show you this word, let me show you something. Okay. Here. Yastakhfuna. The meaning is to hide, so that I give you some giveaway for root letters, so that you are able to figure out the root letter. So here, this is coming from hiding something. So this is kha, fa, ya, kha, fa, ya. So there is a weak letter, so it's going to be on the left side, motal. And after figuring out that this is motal, and you are going to see the position of the weak letter, kha is sahi, fa is sahi, ya, which is the third root letter, that you're telling me when lamul kalima is a weak letter, it is going to be naqis, right? It cannot be lafif because there are no two root letters that are weak, right? It only has one root letter that is weak, right, Sister Zarina? Right? Khafaya, khufya, from khufya, right? Now, another word, yarda. What do you see here? What are the root letters? Try. Ra, dod, waw. Ra, dod, waw are the root letters, right? Radawa, ridwan, because its masdar is ridwan, so ra, dod, waw is going to be the root letter. Yarda, when you're seeing that, so the weak letter is on the Ainul Kalima. You're going to go to the left side. You're going to again go to your left side of the table, motal, and then you give it to naqis, because there is only one weak letter in this fail. Is this clear to all of you? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So now that you are master of this concept, I hope most of you have mastered it. Let me just, before I seriously take you to this little overwhelming journey, let me make sure that you are able to still, identify your words correctly. Okay. Khati'atan. Khati'atan. So here, kha, ta, hamza are your root letters, right? Kha, ta, hamza are your root letters. Is it sahih or mu'tal? No. Kha, ta, hamza are the root letters. Look at the root letters. It is sahih. It is sahih. Okay? Because kha, ta, hamza. Hamza is not a weak letter. Remember, I've been telling you there are only 3 weak letters. Okay? There are only 3 weak letters in Arabic alphabet, and that is alif, waw, and ya. Okay? And alif can never be root letter. Do you all remember that? I've told you time and again. Your alif will never be the root letter. Root letters are only going to be waw, ya, but the weak letters of Arabic alphabet are alif, waw, and ya. So when you look at khata'a, it is khata'a, so it is sahih. And now I'm going to ask you, is it salim, sahih salim, or sahih mahmuz, sahih muda'af? What is it? So I think you already answered it. It is sahih mahmuz. And now the last question is further subclassify. Further subclassify. And when I ask you in your test that, classify everything, you should be able to tell me that this is sahih, this is sahih mahmuz, and this is mahmuzul lam. Okay, this is what I'm expecting to hear from you all. Okay, because when it is mahmuz, or if it is misal ajwaf naqis, you can all have this further subclassification, which is not there for muda'af or salim, right? You are seeing that these mahmuz, misal, ajwaf, and naqis have been further subclassified. I hope this is clear to all of you, right? And lafif also has been further subclassified, and I think I should also put lafif here somewhere, but I will be able to, I will, further, add few, I will try to make a space for Lafif as well on this table, and we'll see how I can accommodate it. And you should all know that your Lafif is of two types, and you should all by this time know what is Lafif Makroon, what is Lafif um, Mafruq. Okay. I hope this is a quick recap of what you have covered before. So now since we are advancing into our advanced surf, so let's just learn something about advanced surf. So how many weak letters are there in Arabic alphabet? We have already covered that. There are only three: alif, waw, and ya. Do not add hamza to this list because Arabs have never added that. So we cannot change things around. We have to follow what Arabs, because Arabs said so. Just follow them, okay? And in this time, you will be right in following whatever they do, okay? Inshallah, I showed you that. So they only have three letters from the whole entire alphabet as a weak letter, and those are alif, waw, and ya. Again, alif is never going to be root letter. Waw and ya can be root letters. What is i'lal? On my slide, you must have seen this daunting, this overwhelming term i'lal. So this is what we are going to learn today. Do you remember what was the definition of ibdal? Very similar sounding, from the same family. We have learned a word ibdal, especially when we were doing our ta families. We were learning it in great detail. Ibdal is not merging. That is idgham. Idgham is merging. Ibdal means to change, right? Ibdal means to change, right? Ibdal means to change, right? So ibdal is from badal, badalam, and when there is a badal, there is something that changes into something else, right? So um, when it comes to, yes, so most of the time you see it with ta letters, but ibdal is a very broad term. It is a very broad term. It is all encompassing. When you will learn about ibdal, you will notice that it is a very all encompassing term, right? It is, something that covers everything. Every letter that undergoes a change, you can call that change ibdal. But when it is very specific to weak letters, when it is very specific to weak letters, so what are the root letters for weak letters? Ain, lam, lam, right? So then this you can call the change that only and only weak letters undergo. You can call it i'lal, i'lal, but this i'lal can also come under ibdal, which is a broad term. It covers everything. Does it make sense? Ibdal is a term where one letter comes in the place of another letter, and it does not have to only be harf illa. Okay, it can be any letter. Ta changing into dal, dal changing into something else, zal changing into dal, uh, ta changing into ta. It can all be under. It can all come under the umbrella of ibdal. How many of you have understood it? Everything, if there is any change that can be there, any letter changing into another letter can be just simply called ibdal. When you are specifically talking about haruf illa, the changes that haruf illa undergo for ease, that process is called ilal. I hope this is clear to each and every one of you. When you see a haruf illa undergoing a change for ease, takhfif is ease, right? For ease, then you call it i'lal. Okay, but this i'lal can also come under the big umbrella of ibdal as well. Okay, is this clear to all of you? So if you sometimes, say word ibdal, that there is an ibdal here where you're noticing waw is changing into alif. So yeah, it is correct. But, to be very precise, you can just, use the term ilal. Okay. And how does this happen? This is what we are going to learn today. Okay. So it's very important for those of you who were not there with us when we were learning the rulings, that we have to see in words with Ibdal. For those of you who are present in class, our slides will be shared with those particular students. Now, only you will be having access to notes if you are in the class. If you are not in the class, you are going to lose your access to all the Google Drive and everything. So when it comes to Ibdal, um, you can just, you can just say that it is Elal as well. Yeah, all Elal can get under the umbrella of Ibdal as well. Yes, but but if I say that, for example, let me show you something here. Let me show you this. Here, Istara. Istara, the ta of the family, got changed into sa. Can I call it Elal? What do you think, Diba? Can it be Elal? Now, let me show you something. Um, this Aradi was originally, actually, it has to be written with bow. I just let me just change this. It was supposed to be it was basically, let me just get it, Aradu. It was Aradu, but Radivu, but is this going to be considered Ibdal? Oh, sorry. Can I, I can call it Ibdal, right? But if I change, one second, let me just, I'm going to, spell it right. It is supposed to be there is supposed to be wow here because the wow with the root letters, but you're noticing here the wow got changed into ya, and this is also under the umbrella of your Ibdal. Okay, so just real quick, I will tell you. You can see Ibdal with these letters that you are going to see that you are seeing on my screen, right? Hamza gets changed, waw gets changed, al-ya gets changed, alif, al-ha, ad-dal, at-ta, al-mim, at-ta. Okay, so these 9 letters are the letters that can have, some kind of a change sometimes. So there are many examples of most of them, with few exceptions from some of them. So just bear with me. So have you ever seen this word sama'un? Was sama'i? You notice what is happening here? The word was originally samawun, but it became samaun. What are you seeing? Are you noticing any change here? Is there any change? Yes, and that change is going to be still ibdal, right? It is going to be still ibdal. Binaun, originally, ba, nun, ya are the root letters. What happened? There is a change of ya into hamza, and we are going to learn why this change happens. But at this time, can you place it under Ibdal? Yes, you can call it Ibdal as well. But to be precise, yes, because there is a change of waw and ya, you can further subclassify it as I'lal. Okay, right? So when you see here change of hamza to ya and waw, have you ever seen word khataya so many times, right? Khataya. Have you noticed this word in Quran or in your duas, right? In your dua for janaza, it is khataya is there as well. So khataya, what are the root letters? Again, we just saw it khati'atan. So the root letters are kha, ta, hamza. It was actually khata'an, right? Khata'an, but it became khataya, right? So what happened? The hamza got changed into ya. Who's one? The joke. So what is exactly the root letters of the word? Huz'an. Originally, the word was asluha is huz'an. But what are you seeing here? It got changed into huzwan. Have you seen that word in Quran? Yes, right? Very many times. Sometimes alif gets changed into ya. So here I found an example. Masabih is a singular word, and the plural for it is mafa'ilu, and it on the mafa'ilu pattern. And masabihu asluha according to such scholars is masabaha, but it got changed into ya. This ya is actually a change that happened from alif. The word was originally masabaha. So it is so tough on your tongue, but masabiha is so easy on the tongue. So therefore, alif got changed into ya. Then let me show you. Okay, okay, sorry. Okay, so again, so sometimes the vowel gets changed into ya. A radi, a radiyu is asluha is a radibu, right? A radibu, because ridwan, this word ra dod is from the root letters ra dod waw. So you are noticing, yeah, and I'm going to respell the word for you. So this word was originally a radibu, but in Quran, how do you find this word? A radiyu, or in Arabic, how is it written? A radiyu. Sometimes alif changes to waw. In case of ism tasghir, laibun. So this alif of the ism file, luwaibu, became waw. And then there's a change of ya to waw. We have seen yuqidun. You all remember in Surah Al-Baqarah, in the very first ayahs of Surah Al-Baqarah, yuqinun wa bil akhirati hum yuqinun, right? So this yuqinun, what are the root letters? What are the root letters? Ya, Qaf, Nun. But what happened to this ya? The ya got changed into waw. And you are seeing waw there. Muqinun, originally it was muiqinun. Is it easy on tongue? No, it's very tough on tongue. So it's easy to say muqinun versus muiqinun. So the asluha was muiqinun, but it got changed into waw. And then taqwa, asluha is tuqya. It got changed into taqwa. Then ibdal of waw and ya into alif. Ba'a originally was bay'a. Qala originally was qawala. Right? We say these words are from Nasara clan. How do we know? Because we know, and in Nasara clan, all three letters are supposed to be with fatha. But what happens to the middle letter? What happens to middle letter? The waw and ya get changed into alif, right? And this is also under the big umbrella of ibdal. But when I'm talking about changing of ya or waw to alif, can I bring it back to i'lal? Can I subclassify it under i'lal? Of course I can, right? Because i'lal is the change that occurs in the weak letter, right? So then the next case is when your waw and ya change to ta with two conditions. If the foul kalima is in the family, if it is a foul kalima, if the waw and ya is a foul kalima in family, if the alan, right, in family 8, and this fa in this ya and waw were not originally hamza, okay, so they are not coming from originally from hamza. So wasafa when it goes in family 8, how is it, what happens to it? Ittasafa, ittasara. And can somebody give me one more example? Very commonly used in family 8. Very many times it comes. Ittakhadha, but that is that will not be here. That will not come here because ittakhadha is originally that is originally the one ta is originally coming from hamza, and that is I think only one word from mahmuz that had undergone that change, right? And we cannot, because if it is not originally hamza, we have to change of ya and waw to ta. We are looking at that, right? We are looking at that right now. Change of waw and ya to ta with two conditions. So it has to be waw. The root letter has to be waw. Root letter cannot be hamza. We are talking about change of waw and ya to ta with two conditions. It is in family 8. It has to be not hamza, and it is going to be ittaqa yattaqi ittiqa'an, right? Muttaqeen. Very good job, Shaheen and Faiza. Very well done. That is the word I was looking for, right? So ittasafa yattasifu, ittasara yattasiru. So this is also going to be under the umbrella of ibdal. And yes, you are right. Ittakhaza, the same thing is happening with akhaza as well, but it's going to be studied later, inshallah. But the same thing happens to hamza of akhaza as well. which is, I think, a unique root that undergoes change into, and the hamza gets changed into ta, and it becomes ittakhaza yattakhizu. Very well done. So now the last case that I have for you is all the tas of ifta'al family, how they get changed into ta, and then all the notes that we had where we had learned Ibdal in great detail. And when we were learning our family aid, I have put all those notes together for you guys. Okay, for those of you who are not with us, it is going to be a good source of information. And for those of you who have already covered that when they were learning 108 session, in when they were in session number 108, 109, and around, in 100 range sessions when we were doing the surf of big families, you must have covered all these slides at that time with me. So since we have already covered that, I'm not going to spend more time on that. But make sure that you know that all the information, all the material is in these slides as well, so that you have complete understanding of what Ibdal and I'lal is. Okay, so now since we are basically focusing on I'lal, our weak letters for the advanced sir, I'm going to go over I'lal in detail in this session. So are you all ready? And as you are all ready, I will want you to know that I'lal is a change that, again, your weak letter will undergo for takhfif, okay, for the ease, the change that is particularly going to happen in a weak letter for the ease is going to be called I'lal, and it can be of four types. Basically, these two types can be put together under, in one heading, but, sometimes you will find them written separately. So it's going to be easy if you understand it like in the four forms as well. It's not going to hurt. In my original slide, you may see that I'lal is going to happen bil qalb, bil hazf, and bil iskan or taskeen. Iskan or taskeen is going to be interchangeable. Both are with the root letter seen, kaf, noon, and both mean to take a sakoon. Okay, so do you understand it? Iskan is to have a sakoon. Taskeen is to have a sakoon on a letter, right? Is this clear to all of you? That what is the term taskeen, at-taskeen, or al-iskan mean? From root letter seen, kaf, noon, when a letter gets a sakoon, or when a letter gets a sakoon, it is going to be called that the process is called iskan. It can also be called taskeen. Just like tanzil and inzal. Are the meaning quite similar? What do you think? Inzal and tanzil, just how they match in meaning pretty much. With yes, when you look at the word in greater detail, then you may find subtle differences between the two words, but sometimes the terms can be used interchangeably. The same is the concept with taskeen and iskan. I want you to familiarize yourself with the terms as well, so it's not too heavy on you, inshallah. Okay, it's super duper easy for you. So I'lal with taskeen is I'm going to show you how it's going to be, but for now, yes, for Masdar forms family 2 and 4, and they are going to be used interchangeably. Remember that. So this is, I hope this is clear. When a weak letter is going to get a sakoon, this is called I'lal bit taskeen or I'lal bil iskan. When a weak letter undergoes a change, and now it's a completely different letter, it's going to be I'lal bil qalb. When a weak letter changes into a different letter, it's going to be I'lal bil qalb. How many of you have understood this? And I'm going to ask you the examples. Okay, so when a weak letter gets changed into a different letter, when a weak letter gets changed into a different letter, it is going to be called I'lal bil qalb. And remember, be very, very precise when you are sharing this information with somebody else, or when you are teaching this topic to somebody else, that I'lal bil qalb, we are not going to talk about sahih letters. We are now going to focus on our weak letters now. I'lal bil qalb means a weak letter is going to change into something else. Now it's all about weak letters, right? When you have this term I'lal, it's only going to be weak letter, weak letter, weak letter. Okay. Now there is a change that has to occur in the weak letter itself. And I'lal can be bil qalb, I'lal can be bil hasf. What is the meaning of hasf? And you have seen that term very many times when you were learning your Nahu, something that gets dropped. Very good job, Shaheen. Omission, dropping of a letter. When the weak letter gets dropped, when a weak letter is omitted, that is going to be إعلال بالحذف. Just like, for example, when I say lam yahdi, am I reading the last ya of hadaya? No, I'm not, right? I just stopped at dal. I omitted ya, and this is going to be إعلال بالحذف, right? It's clear? Then إعلال, the last one, the last call out for you guys is إعلال بالتسكين والنقل حركته إلى ما قبله. And this is also something we are going to cover in the next few slides, and you will be a master of that. When I'm going to do surf with you guys, remember, I'm expecting to ask you, after teaching you this, I'm going to ask you if there is a word like qala, you have to pick one of the four. Very many times. I may come up with what is called Kahoot, that pick what is happening in any particular word when I am teaching you advanced surf. Is this clear to all of you? You should be able to tell me that this is this may be, in Kahoot, you see sometimes the boxes like this, and Elal, it's going to be Elal bil qalb. I'm going to show you a word, and you're going to tell me, is this Elal bil qalb, إعلال بالحذف, إعلال بالتسكين, إعلال بالتسكين ونقل حركته إلى ما قبله. Okay, these two again, can be put together, but still I will keep them separate. إعلال بالنقل, naqal means to move from one place to another. What is the meaning of naqal? Taskin, that when a letter gets a sakoon, that is easy. Naqal means to move from one place to another. Have you ever heard of this term in Urdu, naqal makani? That, when people move from one place to another, that is called naqal makani. The same meaning is here in Arabic. Yes, intiqal. Sister Faiza came up with intiqal, where intiqal is moving from one world. We use it in Urdu to say that a person has moved from one world to another world. From dunya, they have moved to barzakh, right? And this intiqal is of moving when somebody dies. The term uses unka intiqal ho gaya. Intiqal ho gaya means that they have moved from dunya to the life of barzakh now. So they have done a move, they have taken a move, right? So anytime naqal comes, it should remind you of movement, okay? Moving from one place to another, okay? What is naqal? Naqal is going to be, moving from one place to another. Keep that in mind. And here, what will move is, here there will be a movement of a vowel, which is the haraka. The haraka of a letter is going to move, and you will see how, okay, inshallah. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, again you are going to see the first case when there is I'lal bil qalb, and again in detail what is the ruling here. I have put a couple of exceptions here. There are 5 more exceptions, but for now I just want you to be familiarized, to just get familiar with the term, with how this works, okay? At this stage, I don't want to give you tons of exceptions. They are there. At this time, I just want you to focus on what you need to know at this stage. We are going to go into details and whatnot, but for now, focus on this. Ilal bil qalb, the first example that I have for you is when waw and ya have a haraka. When waw and ya are voweled, and the letter before them has a fatha. This is not they are vowel, and the letter before them has a fatha. Do you know what happens to waw and ya? They change into alif. So al-qalb is a good term to use for this process. You think that kavana became kana yakunu? Should I use the qalb? Because just like our heart changes all the time, sometimes it is focused on learning more grammar. Sometimes it's very fed up with grammar. It's too hard for them. Or, sometimes we are we have a lot of khushu in our salah, and sometimes that is not there, right? The level of iman changes just because our heart changes all the time. That is why we want Sabbit qalbi, because the organ that is undergoing all the changes is your heart. That is why our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, made a dua for himself to have the steadfastness of the heart, because heart undergoes the change, and from this, because of why, that is why we associate the change with the with this term al qalb, right? So ilal bil qalb, when there is a weak letter waw and ya, it has a haraka, but the letter before it has a fatha, then waw and ya get changed into alif. You see it in kana, original word asluha, original kalima, and its asal. What is asal? Its original form was kawana. It got changed into kana. Baya'a got changed into ba'a. Awada got changed into ada. Jaraya, again, jaraya, ya is a weak letter. There is a letter before it that has a fatha. What happened to it? Ya got changed into alif. Jara, yajri. Da'awa got changed into da'a. The waw, which was original form, and the awa was the original form. And isn't it very tough on tongue? Saying da'a is easy or da'awa is easy? Da'a is easy, right? So here, all these kalimat have undergone a change because all these words had waw and ya as a root letter, and that waw and ya had a harika, which was fatha, and but the letter before them had also a fatha, so they changed themselves into alif. And alif goes with fatha. We have covered that in the past. That what is alif friends with? What is a friend of alif? Which haraka is a friend of alif? Fatha. Which letter is friends with kasra? Ya is friends with kasra. Which letter is friends with waw? With dhamma, sorry. Yes, waw is friends with dhamma, right? So the first rule, ilal bil qalb, you have learned there is going to be a change of waw and ya to alif if there is a fatha before them. I hope this is clear to all of you. However, there is an exception to this. The waw and ya, you notice anytime you are noticing all these words, do they have waw and ya in their foul kalima? What do you think? All these letters have waw and ya either in the middle or in the lamul kalima. The waw was either present in the middle or at the lamul kalima position. So and that is only place when waw and ya can be for it to get changed into alif. Okay. The condition is waw and ya cannot be a foul kalima. Also, remember, if a word has to do with body defect or color, the waw is not going to have any change. Okay, waw and ya will not undergo any change. Do you notice here? Sayyida means to have a crooked neck. Avira means to have one eye. And you remember to be one-eyed, Aviril Kazzab, you have a dua to protect yourself from Dajjal, who is one-eyed, right? So Avira means to be one-eyed. The fail, Avira means to be one-eyed. Sayyida means to have a crooked neck. In these words, you notice both ya and waw had a vowel, and the letter before them had a fatha, but it is not sada or ara. Why so? Because the fail has to do with body defect. If fail has to do with body defect or color, waw and ya are not going to change into alif. Is this clear to all of you? There are other exceptions. We are going to learn the details of that later. So the next case, when vowel ya and waw come after alif zaida at the end of the word. When waw and ya come after alif zaida at the end of the word, when waw and ya are in the ism file of salasi mujarrad after alif, what is going to be the change now? They get changed into, they get changed into hamza. Easy? Is this clear? If you find your waw and ya after alif zaida it's going to change into hamza. For example, why sama'un is sama'un and not sama'un? In this case, you notice how your waw was present after alif zaida and is present at the end of the word. Hmm? They are present at the end of the word, so they got changed into hamza. So bina'un originally was bina'yun. It got changed into hamza. Sawa'un originally was sawa'yun. It got changed into hamza. Du'a'un, so many times we use this word du'a, right? Rabbana taqabbal du'a, right? So this was originally du'a'un. What happened to waw? According to the rule, because this this waw, this ya, this ya, this waw was present after alif zaida, they all got changed into hamza. What does it mean by alif zaida? What do you understand by alif zaida? That's a very good question, right? This alif is not a root letter. Very good answer for that. Okay, let's put it here so that it is easy for the rest of the sister. Alif zaida means that this alif is not a root letter. Okay, from a root letter, right? It can never be a root letter, but this alif is not coming from a root letter of the word. Is this clear to all of you? That this alif is not coming from the root letter of the word. All of you understand this? Because in word ba'a, qala, alif is not going to be zaida, right? Because it is coming from the root of the word. It is coming from the root letter of the word, right? But in this case, here, this alif is not the root letter, sama'un or bina'un. In form 3, jahada yujahidu, alif is not zaida. That is, that is also kind of, something extra, not the root letter, right? In jahada yujahidu, also that is something extra there, right? Right? And there you are going to see, sometimes there are going to be exceptions. These are just the rules that you're going to learn for now, and then you're going to see that there are going to be exceptions. I know where you are coming from, that ba ya you ba yi, we just covered that in Surah al-Fath, that word, right? And ya is coming after the alif that was actually zaida and not a root letter, right? Ba, ya, ain are the root letters, and you are still seeing ya. But again, as I said, that there are going to be a lot of exceptions, right? So, and you are also noticing in that word, you are seeing this in two cases as well, right? You are seeing it in two cases. I have put the two cases here. Your wow and ya are at the end of the word, right? There is a condition and also that this wow and ya is coming after alif zaida that is at the end of the word. You notice that? And then when you see the second example where you are seeing ya and waw, you are seeing it in ism file of salasi mujarrad after alif zaida. Like sa'imun was originally sawimun. Zaidun originally was zayidun. Khaifun, khawifun. Qailun is coming from qabilun, right? And there are two cases that are shown to you in certain conditions, right? With certain conditions, you are seeing alif zaida at the end of the word, you are seeing sama'un at the end of the word, and your root letter waw and ya are at the end of the word, right? You in ba ya yubayi'u, there is no mention here that it's going to undergo the change into hamza in family 3, right? We have not put it like that. And anyways, baya yubayi'u, the word, that root letter is in the middle of the word, not at the end, right? I hope this is clear, Diba, right? Okay, so the next case that you're going to see is in case of إعلال بالقلب, and these are general rules with a lot of exceptions. So with waw, when waw is present after a letter with a kasra, it gets changed into ya. It changes to ya. So you have seen ijad. In Urdu, we have this word ijad, right? So what is the original root letter? Waw, jim, dal are the original root letters, right? So why this got changed into ya? What happened here? Because again, your Waw is not friends with Kasra. Who is a friend of Kasra? Ya is a friend of Kasra, as we just said, right? So we just notice a change of, instead of ijadan, you see ijadan. Is this clear? Iwrakan is very tough on tongue. Anyways, waw is not friends with kasra. We have to replace this waw with a ya, and we are going to see here إعلال بالقلب, where waw got changed into ya, as in word irakan. Okay, then very many times you have seen these words in Quran: mizan, mithaq. Original form was muzan or musaq, right? But what happened here? Because the waw was preceded by a kasra, it got changed into ya. How many of you have understood it now? If a word, if a word is, if a word again in your ism file, in your ism file, you're noticing originally adai was adaiwi, right? Adaibu, it was adaibu. Aradiyu, aradi is originally like this, right? But what happened here? Because it is on a pattern of fa'ilu, ya, waw was present after a letter with a kasra, waw got changed into ya. Is this clear? You just need to know that if there is a waw before it is a letter with a kasra, it gets changed into ya. There may be exceptions to that, okay? But I hope you know by this time that this is إعلال بالقلب, and this is what you are expected to see in these words, right? Is this clear? The rule of إعلال بالقلب is clear to you? The last case, we have already covered it under Ibdal, because remember, Ibdal is a big umbrella which is going to cover it all. But now, since we are going to learn our advanced serve, here we are going to see the changes that our weak letters undergo. Now, in this case, we have already seen how when there is a dhamma before ya, it changes to waw. So, ya, qaf, noon are the root letters for yukinu. Originally, it should be yuikinu, right? There should be a ya. The root letter was ya, but it got changed into waw. Why so? Because the letter before it was carrying a dhamma. And again, you need to know dhamma. Who's friends with dhamma? Waw is friends with dhamma, right? Dhamma likes waw, so your ya gets changed into waw. And muqinin, you have seen this word in Quran very many times. What was original word? It is muqinin, but what happened? Because from this word is coming from yaqeen, right? But why the ya of yaqeen gets changed into waw is because a letter in these cases is carrying a dhamma before the ya, and ya gets changed into waw. Okay, are you all with me so far? Alhamdulillah. Okay, so let's go over some more cases. So now you are going to see ilal bil hazf. What is ilal bil hazf? Here you are going to see that when waw is the foul kalima, when waw is a foul kalima and is present in fail mudare on a pattern of yaf'ilu, on a pattern of yaf'ilu, what happens to waw? It's going to get dropped. Okay, is this clear? When waw, when your waw is a foul kalima and is present in fail mudare on pattern of yaf'ilu, it is going to get dropped. So, and there is also another case, it's going to get dropped when the ain or lam kalima is from harufe halkiya. When ain or lam kalima of yaf'alu fail is on from harufe halkiya, it also gets dropped in those cases as well. Okay, is this clear to all of you? So for example, this word was originally ya'idu. You have seen it in Quran very many times, right? Ya'idu, to promise. Originally word was يوئد. So what happened to waw? Because it was present between alamatul mudariya and the kasra yaf'ilu, it got dropped. But what happened in word yahabu, yasa'u? What happened here? Here, the word, the fail is not on the pattern of yohibu. It is yohabu. It is yosa'u. Yosa'u. Why is wow dropped from these words? What can be the reason? Haruki. Yes. So I'm going to add here haruf al halqiya. Okay. So if there are haruf halqiya, okay, let me include if if second or third root letter is haruf halqiya. Okay. Is this clear to all of you? And then you have seen how we have covered in our af'al how our ya gets dropped all the time, how different vowels get dropped all the time when there is failul amr, right? When you see here here in this example ibni, when we make failul amr, ya gets dropped. In ihdi, ya gets dropped when we are making failul amr, right? But in this word, the last example, you notice here, the word is the awat. Mhm. The word is the awat. So what happened to this wow? What happened to, where is this alif coming from? There was first a qalb, where the wow got changed into alif, and then when two sakins come together, what happens? The first sakin gets dropped, so there is a hazf in word da'at. There is a hazf in word da'at, and we are going to learn details of the how there are very many times we are going to see these words getting dropped in our af'al, inshallah, because that is what we are going to focus on after this session, inshallah. So then i'lal bit taskin, easy one. Have you ever seen in Quran words yad'u and yahdi? And I always tell you when we were covering our nahu that these are marfu bidamatul muqaddara alil waw and ya, right? Bidamatul muqaddara, but yad uwu yad yahdiyu. But what happened here? Because the haraka before the voweled waw and ya was kasra or dhamma. When the haraka before the waw and ya that has a harak, mutaharik waw and ya are present after letter that is either carrying a dhamma or a kasra, they lose their haraka. What happens to them? They lose their haraka. Is this clear to all of you? That how yad uvu was yad u was yad uvu, yahdiyu is becoming yahdi. Why so? Because the letter before ya, the letter before waw is either dhamma or a kasra. But what happens? Not to make mud, just for ease. It is easy to pronounce it like that. And yes, it changes into mud. It changes into mud, but it is easy to pronounce that like that as well. So what will happen? What will happen if the waw and ya were present after a letter that was carrying a fatha? What will happen? There will be إعلال بالقلب. There will be إعلال بالقلب because waw and ya are going to change into alif, as Sister Faiza has typed. It is not going to be إعلال بالتسكين. Is this clear to all of you? Because if it is yarju, or no, yarju is the other way. Let me give you another example. Let me take you back. So here, in your initial examples, in the initial one, see how jaraya became jara because ya was preceded by a fatha. The awa was preceded by a fatha. No, no, I'm taking you to, yeah, it will be, no, I'm showing you different words now to give you right example. Jazakallah khair, Sister Diba. So, jaraya, because ya was preceded with the fatha, the ya it got changed into alif. Waw was preceded with a, it was preceded by a fatha, it got changed into alif. Okay, is this clear? That if there was a letter before them with a fatha, you change waw and ya to alif. For example, yarda. Let me give you an example of yarda. What is the root letter? Where is the alif coming from? Ra, dod, waw are the root letters, right? But because the waw was preceded by a fatha, there was إعلال bil qalb, right? There was إعلال bil qalb. But here, in this one, because the ya is preceded by kasra or waw is preceded by a dhamma, you are noticing إعلال بالتسكين. Now you're seeing just, what do? They just drop their haraka and take upon themselves a sukoon. Is this clear to all of you? Will you be able to tell, ilal bil taskeen from ilal bil qalb, and when to do which one? I hope this is easy for you, inshallah, now that you have learned a little bit about the process. Yes, it needs to be watched again, and moreover, the session just not it's not just need to be watched again, but also just remember a very simple fact, um, that if you remember how which letter comes easy with which letter, if you or the which haraka, then you will it's going to be easy as well. If you know that there is a friendship between dhamma and waw, there's a friendship between kasra and ya, there's a friendship between fatha and alif, right? So then the last one, I think it is, yes, it is the last one, and it's an easy one. Yakulu is, which family is Yakulu from? It is from family one, which bab? It is from Bab Nasara. So in Bab Nasara, what do we expect to see? We expect to see yansuru, right? So it should be yakvulu. When you are saying qala yakulu is coming from Bab Nasara, you expect to see qavala yakvulu, right? Qavala yakvulu. But what happened here? What happened here is there is a nakal, there is a movement, and then there is a taskeen, right? So the haraka, the yakvulu, whenever there is a waw and a ya, and the letter before waw and ya is a sahih letter, and it is sakin, ya is, and waw become very generous. They give their haraka to a letter before them. They give their haraka to a sahih letter and take upon themselves a sakoon. So here, it and first of all, there is a nakal, right? There's a movement of a dhamma from waw to qaf. There is first the process is ilal bin nakal, and then you ended up with the scheme. Is this clear? How yakvulu got changed into yakulu. Yazyidu is read as yazidu, and yazuru comes from yazvuru, right? Because in all these cases, your waw was voweled, it was mutaharrik, it had a haraka, but a letter before them was a sahih letter that was sakin. So waw and ya became very generous. Their heart just was soft at that time, and they said that let's just move our dhamma to a letter before, and let's just take upon ourselves a sakoon, and that is how we ended up with yakulu, yazidu, and yazuru. And you notice that it is for takhfif as well, right? Isn't it easy to pronounce these words as yakulu, yazidu, yazuru, instead of saying yakvulu, yazidu, yazwuru, right? The last thing is the same thing, in the same process where when you have your passive, When you have your passive, you see here, originally the word was yukuwalu. Yukuwalu. This is how the word was originally, right? Dhammas and a fatha. So then what happened? In this case, Wow again had a exchange. There was a exchange, and then it gave its fatha to a letter before. It gave its haraka to a letter before, and when it gave its haraka, its fatha to a letter before, now when it became sakin. And what goes with sakin? Goes with sakin? With fatha, sorry. What goes with fatha? Alif goes with fatha, and we ended up with yuqalu. Okay, we ended up with yuqalu. I know it's no, yukwalu. Yeah, so our time is up. Inshallah, I will address your question in the next session. Remember again, you have to start with the start, right? What was originally, oohs and ahs, and where the placement of every ooh and ah is, and then all the changes happened. Okay, inshallah. So we'll review it in our next session on Saturday. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayka. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.